Okay, Andrew's question is up next.
Was that Andrew or Andrea?
Andrew.
Don't be picking on Reby.
I thought I said it pretty clearly, but hey.
That was on me. That's me.
I'm very sensitive to how people pronounce things now.
I was genuinely not picking on you, really.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I think I'm just hypersensitive now.
Okay, well, Andrew asks, my employer gives us an annual bonus, which can be taken as cash, leveraged stock options, or a mixture of both. How do I think about which option to take?
Wait a minute, let me get this right. Annual bonus, leveraged stock options. What was the other two options?
Cash. Or a mixture of both.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And bonus ranges from 5 to 10% is the last piece of information. So how should he think about which option to take?
Okay, I want to be clear here. I don't know. I want to make the word leverage here threw me off. I'm going to go out on a limb here and ask Andrew. I bet there's not like leverage stock options. I bet your bonus you're able to choose. Do I either take stock options or cash? That's a more common thing that we see. The levered thing kind of threw it off on me. And so because that's what threw you off too, right?
It sounds like a casino almost. It's like, hey,
we're gonna let you borrow
cash, or we'll go with the leveraged stock options. I think
it's either stock options or cash, which is not uncommon. A lot of times, especially when you work for publicly traded entities, they will give you an option on how you receive your bonus. You can either receive it in employer stock, in this case, options to buy the stock at some future date, or cash. So how do I go about deciding which one of these makes sense? And Brian, you and I have a ton of experience. We've worked with a lot of people over the last, 20 years or so who've had options available through their employer, whether that be part of their compensation or part of the way they elect to receive bonuses. And options can be wonderful because what an option does is it gives you the opportunity to buy a stock at a given price at some point in the future. So you get an option. I want to buy my company stock for $10 per share, and I get to decide when I want to do that. Well, it's kind of a no-brainer. If the stock price goes up to $100 per share, but you have an option that allows you to buy it for $10 a share, that option is pretty stinking valuable. So it allows you to participate in the growth of the company, so it can be a very attractive thing. Cash, on the other hand, is exactly what it is. You get cash today, and it's worth exactly what the cash is. So how does Andrew go about deciding, how do I do this? Is it better to take stock or is it better to take the cash?
Yeah, this is, I always say we need a little bit more data because it could be a stock purchase plan, it could be stock options, it could be restricted stock units. We see all kind of versions, and then there's usually some type of incentive when you take the stock as well. Think about like an employee stock purchase plan. They usually have a discount, either 15% off the beginning of the quarter or whatever the lowest price is, either the beginning of the quarter, end of the quarter. So that's almost like a guaranteed 15% payment there. Restricted stock units, they usually, you're dealing with some stated, you work here long enough, we're going to give you these, they're going to vest over time. There's an incentive to keep you there. So I need a little bit more data on how this is structured. But I will say this, assuming there is some incentive that they're going to give you on the options, RSUs, or the employee stock purchase plan, make sure that your human capital and your investment capital stay somewhat separated. I want you to take advantage of the incentives that especially if they're kind of really giving you some type of incentive to do the stock. I would encourage you to do that, but just make sure that you try to keep it below 10% of your total investable assets. And that's why you'll probably want to create some type of timeline of action, because there's just a risk of having your human capital, meaning the hours you trade of your time to go towards labor and wages to create income for your family. You don't want that tied into your financial assets completely, because then you literally have all your eggs in one basket. If it goes down, it destroys your entire financial life. So that's why it's nice to kind of diversify those things. Now, look, concentration can create tremendous wealth, whereas usually when you get wealth, you want to diversify. But it is one of those things where you have to be careful. And a lot of times as an insider or working for a company, you get caught up in all the excitement and it might blind you to the risk. So just don't get caught up in all that. Make sure there's a balance there on your wealth building journey of creating diversification, financial assets that are working just as hard as you do with your back, your brain, and your hands.
Love it.
Fantastic.
One other consideration. Sorry.
Yes.
I want to throw another
Yeah,
consideration.
put it in there.
One of the benefits of options when you're thinking through this is that with options, you get to choose the taxability event. You get to choose when the tax event takes place. So one of the things that may be going on with your employer is they're giving you, if you receive the cash bonus right now, it's going to be immediately taxable to you this year. If you were to receive the options, there's a good chance that the taxability will be deferred until some point in the future
great
when
point.
you exercise those options. So there's also this like higher level of thinking you need to enter into to say, okay, is there likely over the next 10 years, because most options have a 10-year expiration window, is there a chance that when I want to receive the value of these options, I'm going to be in a different tax environment that will have been more advantageous for me to choose to trigger that taxable event? And then coupled with that, what do I really think the trajectory of the employer stock is going to look like? Are we like a new exciting technology? Is there something going on there? Is it a blue chip stock, or is it something super aggressive that could likely fall out of the money based on where my exercise price is? So there's a lot that has to go into this, and I would even contend the choice that you make may change year over year based on your personal circumstances and based on your company's personal circumstances. So this should be one that every open enrollment, as you're making this election, you're really thinking through the best way to tackle it.
And we didn't even talk about deferred comp. We didn't talk about top hat programs. These are things, like I tell you guys all the time, the more successful you get, the more complexity will come your way. That's why when everybody says, why would you ever need a financial advisor? Just go buy the S&P 500. Ask yourself, do you know what to do with all these? This is why you don't need a financial advisor if you're just buying index funds and you don't have complexity. But I'm telling you, the more successful you get, this stuff just tracks you down. And that's why we'll keep the lights on the front porch. You come and let us know, and we'll be here to help you out.